Sue?
So the Mary Sue is a site where women and non-binary people can talk about movies and TV and
Knew
whatever
it.
they want and just have a space to talk about it.
Amazing. Love it.
That's amazing.
Thank you. But to start with you guys, I always push back at like, the common misconception that comedy is easier than drama because it's not. And they go hand in hand with one another. And this show has a perfect premise to kind of navigate comedy and drama within the show itself. And so for you guys, getting to have that just built in, is it more freeing to do comedy knowing that it's not like going to show up at some point in a scene that you might have, it might be kind of out of left field versus this, which is like it's built in. So there's always kind of those dramatic levels to it.
I would say that the writers are all very different,
Yes.
all from different lifestyles. I think that has a lot to do with it. They're also much younger, so they don't fit in a necessary template where they're open to change, more forward and back. I think as the writers have been older or been more veterans of sitcoms, you get a very typical sitcom. I would say this is not, because it has responsibility and heart, and it is about things that are important, and even relationships. People lose people in their lives for wanting to live different than what the other person expects them to be. And I think this is like a home where eventually you'll be able to see that that was always part of our family.
You brought up something very interesting that somebody just said to me the other day. It's that it's always, when you have these animated shows, it's always like kind of the same writers that go from show to show.
Mm-hmm.
And the same is true for sitcoms. That's not true for our show. And so that's why this show is different. I wanted people, please watch season 2 of Lopez versus Lopez, not just because it is damn good. And and I will put it up against any sitcom, because what we've been able to do here is just nonstop jokes. But the heart and the dramatic acting, like what you're talking about, like we have so many dramatic moments and we have so many heartfelt moments, and then we have so many more jokes than I've ever seen in any show. And so we're just having such a unique time. But the writers and what they're able to do, again, these aren't the same people that move from show to show to show. And all these shows, you can set them in, again, hot in Cleveland or wherever it is, you take the same group of writers. It doesn't matter what the premise is. They all sound the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same beats, and it's all different actors, different setting. That's not the case with this show.
And I love, kind of the newish take on sitcoms as a whole, because I think we've moved away from just expecting to laugh a little and then go about our day. Is that fun for you guys who, you've been in sitcoms for a long time, you've been in these comedies for a long time, getting to kind of continue to change what we expect out of a sitcom with Lopez versus Lopez?
Well, although I haven't been in a lot of sitcoms, I've been more of the, episodic and the more dramatic roles. I think that what I love about this particular show that's exciting is that we're seeing characters that we normally don't see on television portrayed this way, especially in the Latinx family. Like Rosy, my character, she is a businesswoman. She's strong. She goes toe to toe with, with someone like George Lopez. And so there's strength in that. This is a woman who's over 40 and still sexy and still has it going on. And I love, that's already very different. That's a very different formula than what we're used to. We are used to seeing comedies, especially in the multicam world, where the man is usually the one, that has a say in everything. And here Mayan has the say, Rosy has a say. Like, this is different. We're showing that we are equal partners, and that I don't think has really ever been celebrated as much as on this show.
I have no say.
He's but that probably has to do with, maybe that we have a showrunner, a female showrunner, with a lot of females running it. I think that there's something to be said about that. Mayan has a voice in this. I think that it really matters when you give that kind of real representation in the writer's room, and the people that are making the decisions. That is different on our show, and that is a reflection on what you are seeing on the screen.
Yeah, and I love it so much. Thank you guys so much for talking with me. Before I leave, George, I have to say, I loved you in Blue Beetle so much. I don't think we could No, shout out for that. That role was
I
so
know,
much
and for the record, I was the only guy that auditioned for Blue Beetle to play Uncle Rudy. They said because I was larger than everyone else. They're like, oh, you notice how George doesn't fit because everybody else is like small
Oh my God.
and of almost the same size and height. And I said, hey, it's a whole big thing. Oh yeah, there was supposed to be a guy who was much thinner. I was the guy from the beginning.
Yes, he was.
And not only that, I'll put on 70 pounds for the next one.
Oh, but thank you guys so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for people to see season 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Sue.